Yo, what's up, guys? Welcome to Rogan and RuneScape. I'm about to review JRE number 1450 with Brian Redban. If any of you guys, any of you listeners, or members of the RAR family, if you guys love Rogan, you listen to all the episodes, and you want to help doing some of these reviews, hit me up in the DMs and we could do this together. So around 11 minutes and 30 seconds, they kind of start out talking about this kudzu plant that like overtakes everything in the south. And Brian's like, is it like a vine? And Rogan's like, no, it's a tree. But actually it looks really like a vine, so I'm gonna have to say that it's a vine. Look up a picture of this. I think it's KUDZU. And we do have this in Virginia. I don't know if it's the exact same genus species, but we have these ivies that take over everything. And it's kind of crazy looking. It really is. If you have like a tree or any type of plants, this vine just like grows and takes it all over. It's kind of interesting. And they said how at one point people were using it in the war to use it as camouflage, to camouflage their tanks, which is pretty cool. I wish though that there could be a plant that did that, but that was more useful, like cannabis. Wouldn't that be cool if like cannabis plants could just take over everything? And like, because then think about it, then you would have to like chop it down to save the trees, and then you have all these buds that you know what I'm saying, huh? Spacesuits that they got on, it really does look like one of those emergency blankets that people use for like heat and stuff like that. So Redban brought up that if you this whole coronavirus, COVID-19, it can like, if you pet someone's dog and you have it, then it can like stay on the dog's fur. And holy shit, is that terrifying, because I mean it's just, what the fuck, man, this thing's passing through everything, you know. And that's probably one of the more terrifying things about it. It's not necessarily about you know, wearing masks and gloves and stuff. I mean, what about people like, for me, for example, that work as an electrician on big job sites where there's like porta-johns and there's not any bathroom around, and you got like, you know, you got your crew of like 10 or whatever, and then you've got like 20 different like Hispanic workers, you know, doing various shit, concrete work and stuff like that. I mean, you add it all up and it's like 30 different people or 50 different people using like 3 porta-johns. So even if you are to wear a glove, it's like, what if you accidentally bump into the wall with your jacket and then it stays on that for X amount of hours? And then like, what if you take your jacket off in your car and then it's there? It's like, whoa, how far can this go? Redban was talking about like his jewel, and like that's one thing that I definitely am very cautious about. Like, take a rip of the jewel just for the shout out. But yeah, I'm very cautious about that. Like, if I ever go into a store and I like use my card or whatever, I don't want to put the jewel in the same pocket as my wallet, because you know, you touch your wallet to get your card out and then you put your card back in your wallet, and then it's like, if you got your jewel in the same thing, it's like it's a direct dirty straw, like they were saying. Like, he ordered the wrong type of which I want to figure out what it is. He ordered the wrong type of like chloroquine that's I don't know, maybe he got the name wrong. He got some sort of like aquarium cleaner and he drank all that and then he died. Well, basically I think it was the governor or the mayor of Nevada banned chloroquine in that state just because one dude died. Like, and I remember seeing the article saying how like man dies because of Trump's recommendation for chloroquine. It's so misleading, like Joe was saying, and it's just shitting. It's just a chance for, you know, people to shit on Trump. Now, once again, me, you know, FireRight 666, not satanic, but 666 here at the Rogan and RuneScape podcast. I'm not either Democrat nor Republican, because once again, I realize that both parties are funded by the same super PACs, by the same corporations, and then you have like the deep state that controls both of them. So it's basically, you know, so you choose the puppet over here, the puppet on the left, or the puppet on the right. Well, it's like you still got the same person, the same marionette or whatever, puppeteer. You have the same puppeteer pulling the strings. So I would urge people to get outside of the whole left-right thing. I mean, once again, man, you only got 2 options, and that's not freedom. You know, that doesn't really indicate freedom. That indicates a rigged system. But yeah, it really is a shame that because of one person dying, like the whole state banned, or you know, they banned the shit just for a chance to, you know, shit on Trump. Like, oh, you see what happens? It's like, no, bro. like that wasn't even the same type of chemical. Like this dude just got the wrong chemical and chugged it. Which, by the way, speaking of chloroquine, I would like to point out that so chloroquine is just a synthetic form of quinine, and quinine is what's in tonic water. So what I've been doing recently is I've been drinking a lot of tonic water, which contains quinine. Quinine is from the root, from the bark of a plant. The British used to drink gin and tonic with limes all the time as a protection agency for their immune systems. Like when they would go into the jungles and stuff, it would protect them against malaria. And other nations, militaries would go into these jungles and they would get sick because they weren't drinking this tonic. So chloroquine being an anti-malarial, antiviral or whatever. Once again, I'm not a scientist, but just maybe some helpful pointers that might help you as well. So when they drink this tonic, it would help their immune system. So I've been drinking tonic water that contains quinine. I've been eating or drinking a lemon every day with my tea, and also zinc. Zinc's a little bit harder to find on the shelves right now, but tonic water is still pretty much packed on the shelves. Not many people have caught on. I have been to a Food Line or two where there was a lot of it was gone, so maybe a couple people are catching on. But if you want the same combo that I've been taking to try to boost my immune system, I'd recommend drinking tonic water with quinine, squeezing a half lemon, or maybe even cutting it up so you get the pulp as well into your tea in the morning every day. And then also take I think the daily recommended value of zinc is 11 milligrams. Now, the pill that I bought at a CVS or a Walgreens, it's 50 milligrams of zinc, which also not only is a natural immune system booster, but it's also a natural testosterone booster. So take that for what it is. But what I've been personally doing is taking the 50 milligram zinc and cutting it in half to 25 milligrams, because I don't really need the whole 50. I don't really have too much, I don't have a testosterone problem. But I did some research on zinc, and it's not like it's going to kill you to do 50 milligrams a day. But there is, for certain people, if you overload your zinc, it can make you sick. So why not take what they sell in the store, 50 milligrams, and then use a pill cutter, which is $7 at Walgreens or CVS. Use a pill cutter, cut it in half, make it 25 milligrams, and just take that every day, boost your immune system. So yeah, tonic water, lemons, and zinc, boost your immune system. Also, as far as if you want to know what else I take every day, just to kind of help with my immune system and just performance, I also take a multivitamin gummy because I like the way it tastes. It's nummy. I take 2 in the morning because me doing electrical work, it's physically exhausting work. So rather than taking 1 in the morning and then 1 at dinner, I don't really need to take that second one once I'm off work. So I just do 2 in the morning. So 2 multivitamin gummies in the morning, 1 L-lysine vitamin in the morning, which helps for muscle and muscle development. It's not I don't think it's like a hormone or anything like that. I think it just helps the cells regenerate properly. So L-lysine, multivitamins, zinc. I take 2 fish oil in the morning. And what else is there? I know that there's another thing that I'm forgetting. Oh yeah, I also use turmeric or turmeric. I'll take I think it's just 1 of those in the morning. Turmeric is good for your immune system. Let me think if there's another one. For what it's worth, I also make tea every morning with 3 bags of Bigelow's Perfectly Mint classic tea. I just switched today or a couple days ago to Twining's oolong tea just to switch things up. But I love the mint because it has this really powerful mint aroma to it. I believe that black tea also gives you caffeine in it. I know green tea does, and green tea has antioxidants. And I just put it in a thermos. So I'll take 3 tea bags, put it in a thermos, in the morning, boil some water, filtered water, pour it in there, and then cut a lemon in half and squeeze that in there. And I've got to say, man, I'm not a doctor, but it makes me feel amped every day. It makes me feel like what I would imagine a low-level Adderall to be. It's you just have constant energy throughout the entire day, and it's not like caffeine. It's not like it gives you like this boost and then you crash hard and you need more. No, I mean the combination of the 1200 milligram fish oil, 2 of those, then the Vitafusion Men's multivitamin. It says it's for cellular energy and immune system function. Then let's see, L-lysine. I can't see how much the milligrams are right now. If you're interested, you could always email me at RoganAndRunescape@gmail.com. And yeah, man, fucking this shit just makes me feel really great. And at this point in my life, I'm not using any mind-altering substances, including alcohol or smoking or anything like that. So I have a pretty good baseline for being able to tell, you know, how something affects me without being clouded through other things, you know. And of course, I don't believe that there's anything wrong with certain substances, you know, especially like cannabis. But what it all boils down to is if you're using it or abusing it. Just like Graham Hancock had said in one of the episodes, he was an advocate for cannabis or whatever. He loved it. He smoked it for so long, and then he realized through, I think, like a dimethyltryptamine experience or dimethyltryptamine through ayahuasca consumption, I think he realized that he was abusing the plant's natural power. And there probably isn't too much bad things associated with using it every day. But I would definitely encourage everyone to, you know, kind of take a step back, kind of like the whole Sober October thing where you just stop everything for 30 days just so you can kind of get your body back to, and your mind back to the way that it was when we were like kids, sort of, you know, just like your baseline without having anything, you know, altering you. And then once you're there, then you can choose and decide, you know, also moderation, you know, everything with moderation. So, you know, not only is it moderation good for your mind, body, and soul, but it's also good for your wallets as well. Why'd I have a hard time saying wallets? What? When they were talking about, when Joe was talking about how like they had someone on that was talking about this kudzu plant. It was Duncan Trussell. I don't remember what episode it was, but I definitely remember it was Duncan Trussell that brought up this ivy. So yeah, 7 minutes and 20 seconds. They were talking about New York and just how Joe was saying how it's like he likes to experience it and then get the fuck out of there because there's just so much going on and people are like stacked on top of each other, living like rats. On top of all that, it's super expensive. Like you're paying so much money to have like, you know, a small ass apartment and people all around you. This COVID-19 stuff I think was pretty eye-opening for people living in areas like LA and New York. I know Joe has brought up how he's like kind of questioning living in LA now because, you know, it's like, holy shit, when something like this happens, you know, it really makes life difficult when there's millions of people living in the same little area as you. And me personally, I used to want to live in like downtown Richmond, Virginia. And because quite honestly, it's the best thing that Virginia has outside of, Northern Virginia, which is extremely crowded and expensive as well. There's really not too many places of Virginia that's like poppin', for lack of better words. I mean, you got Charlottesville, that's a very elegant small town. But as far as Central Virginia or Central Eastern Virginia goes, Richmond's the best thing that we got, you know. So I used to want to like live in downtown Richmond when I was younger. But then as I kind of like moved out to an area that's outside of it, kind of more isolated, kind of more of the country. Now, I say country, but however, it's like a neighborhood, but it's just less population. I really appreciate living in an area that does have less of a population where you can look up and see the stars and stuff like that. It's really nice. Also, another benefit would be you can go outside and, you know, not see cars driving by, you know, headlights all night long, you know, in these smaller towns or whatever, less populated towns. But like, say if you go out to your car to get something, you can hear you yourself put in the key into your car and like it echoes like throughout the whole like street or cul-de-sac or neighborhood or whatever, and it's just something beautiful about the silence, other than nature, and just being able to look up at the stars and stuff like that. I really appreciate it. Now, I'm not saying that I never would want to or that I never will go to downtown. It's not that, but it's just that who wants to deal with like getting some sort of renting some sort of house downtown or apartment where you got like cockroach problems, rat problems, which you would have in a downtown area such as downtown Richmond, that you don't have in some of the smaller towns or counties outside of it. So it's another really a nice benefit. Now, I wouldn't want to live in like the super backwoods, like where you got to worry about like all these like fucking critters and stuff. Like, I still would want like a little neighborhood. So roughly 39 minutes and 23 seconds. You have to kind of like rewind a little bit before this time. They're talking about like Pompeii, Mount. I'm gonna butcher this name, Mount Vesuvius, whatever. Mount Vesuvius, I don't know. In Pompeii, Italy, when like that volcano exploded and erupted ash like a couple feet thick throughout the entire town. They were saying how like if you live there, you would think that the end of like the world was ending everywhere, essentially. Like you wouldn't think like, oh, these people are doing okay in Thailand on a beach somewhere. And it's kind of mind blowing because they get to at a point later in this episode that we'll cover talking about like tornadoes and other natural disasters, how it really like is like a monster in a way. It's like, you got the volcano monster. If it's a tornado, you got like the sky monster. It's like angry at the world. It's literally like the world is ending in that local area. Which is mind-blowing, man. I mean, we don't really have to deal with tornadoes or earthquakes too bad here, or even really hurricanes. I mean, there's been some hurricanes that have affected things. I think, was it Gaston? And there's a couple other ones that I'm forgetting. That, they flood the streets and stuff like that, but it's mind-blowing to think that you have these natural disasters that just occur and fuck up things like a monster. But roughly about 40 minutes and 3 seconds, Joe was talking about something about like, I guess religion and people setting up this like framework of, if you believe in like a higher power or something like that, then, and you do good things, and you believe that you'll be rewarded, it kind of sets people up to do, to act well. Sometimes, of course, one of the problems that I've had with religion when I was younger is that, it seems all nice and stuff, but then you have people that are, going to church every Sunday, but also doing very terrible things throughout the work week. And they think that as long as they just pray for forgiveness, that it will all be forgiven. Now, I'm not talking necessarily about religion. I'm not talking about religion at all, actually. I'm talking about just the whole idea of if you have this mindset of, okay, I'm going to do good things, kind of like karma. If you believe that I'm going to do good things as much as possible, try to do more good than I do bad, and reduce the amount of negative things that I do to myself and to others, even if you're thinking, not about the reward, if you do set up your life like that, I can promise you that things will get better, as far as just like how the universe treats you. And of course, sometimes when you're a nice person, often, if you're a nice, courageous person that tries to fight for what's right, you will be, you'll be persecuted, and there'll be difficult points in life. But ultimately, I don't think that it gets more difficult through trying to be kind and compassionate to others and to do nice things. I actually think that there's some rough points that you'll go through, some challenges, but ultimately you'll see that your luck in life is actually like better. Like you'll get lucky, you'll have good karma. You'll see where people that are assholes, you'll see them getting to them what they've done. I won't get to any specifics in my life, but I've seen this multiple times where someone's done something, dirty to me. And then it's like, oh shit, a couple months later, a couple years later, it's like fucked up shit happens. And even if fucked up shit doesn't happen, they're not ultimately happy. People are typically not happy when they treat other people very shitty, and they might fake it. They will fake it. They'll put up this like this wall of like, to protect their own ego. But ultimately, they're still, they have this huge void in their heart, and they're looking for that thing that makes them happy. In 6 seconds, this is where Joe brings up the whole twister, in this video of a twister like spinning a semi truck up in the air, like a multi-1,000-pound semi-truck made out of metal, just spinning up in the air as if it's like a leaf, by the force of nature. And so yeah, the power of nature is very amazing. But really, why I timestamped this is just because it was hilarious. Because Brian was like, "Oh, is that the movie Twister?" And Joe was like, "No, it's not Twister." And then he has Jamie look it up, and as Jamie's looking it up, Joe's like, "You know, it might be Twister that I'm thinking about." It's just hilarious. All right, so once again, this is something that I didn't take notes on, but I just kind of saw it while I'm skimming through this stuff. Joe was talking about like just fake boobs and implants, and how it's funny how it's burning our DNA to like that shape so much that, like, you know, women will go out of their way to have these like water bags installed underneath, which personally I don't think it's very attractive because it looks obviously fake. You know what I mean? I would probably rather just have like, and of course it's not like for me to say, but like I'd rather have a girl just be natural the way that she is, even if she has like smaller tits, than to have like this fake fucking water bags that make them feel stiff and shit underneath. I don't know, there's just something about it. I don't like fake personalities, so to have this factor is just fake. But Joe was funny when he's talking about, like, he makes like the man and the woman voice. He's like, "Oh yeah, water bags on the breast. Oh, make more bigger." He's like, "Make more better." And then he talks about how like there's nothing that like a guy could have fake that like a girl would like. You know, like if you got like some dick implant and there's like this plastic rod in your dick, they'd be like, "Ew, that's gross." I just love like the voice he uses for like the man and the woman. And then he was like, "Well, I think Brian asked, like, was there anything that it might have been Brian or Jamie, but is there anything fake that a man could get that a woman would like?" And Joe's like, "Yeah, attention span." Like, women like it when you fake listening to their boring ass stories. Oh god, Joe's just like, he's not afraid to say anything, and it's not even like he's a dick about it. He like is funny, and there's elements of truth to it. Like, it's so true. VR, Redban brings up Half-Life 2 in VR, and how there's like an elevator that you're supposed to get on at one point in the game, and he's like, "I'm not getting in there," because he's like, I guess, afraid of elevators. That's so cool that like they're getting it to the point where things are starting to be like super realistic. And once again, I cannot wait until RuneScape gets into the whole VR thing. Of course, for RuneScape to be VR, they would have to add a first-person element to it, the ability to look through VR. But that gives them plenty of content for them to like keep working on, and, you know, for our money that we pay for membership to go towards something. You know, it would still be kind of cool, VR, you know, if you could look around like third person. But really, I think it would really sell is if you could implement the first person switching in old school RuneScape. I don't play RS3, so I'm not really concerned about that. But yeah, Joe was talking about Doom, what was it, ER or something, Doom Elemental or something like that. And I'm just thinking, like, come on, Joe, get on RuneScape, bruh. Hour 28 minutes and 23 seconds roughly, they were talking about how like colleges are going to change because people are going to realize, like, if I can do this from home, then why in the hell would I be having to be, you know, forced to wake up at a certain time? Or I guess you would still have to wake up at a certain time. But anyways, why would I have to commute to this area, you know, around all these people, when I could just be doing this at home, my own comfortable zone, you know, eating my own food, not having to buy that type of shit. And I think that's really true. And I also think that this is a great time to probably invest in some sort of like streaming platforms. I haven't done too much research as to what is used for these virtual classrooms, but I would almost guarantee that this is going to continue for a while, so therefore it would be a good time to invest maybe in stock for you know, these platforms that allow for there to be virtual classrooms. Also, what else is going to change, like when it comes to work? Like, how many places are going to realize that people can be working from home? I think that would be kind of cool. 2 minutes and 17 seconds, they were talking about ultraviolet lights and how that's supposed to like kill the stuff. Like, I guess there's some sort of like phone cleaners you can put your phone in. It has UV lights to clean it. And one of my coworkers actually had brought up a funny point before I listened to this, like probably a couple weeks ago. It was talking about like Home Depot and Lowe's. Like, why don't they have UV lights at the entrance, you know, while everyone walks in? And it's like, you'd have to kind of look into the health effects. But, you know, if you can make a UV light that would kill this virus without there being harmful effects, that would be the way to go. Brian was talking about something where you can install this program on your computer that it uses some of your, I think CPU probably, or whatever, uses some of your computer's power so that people that are researching cures for this can, you know, use the power on your computer. And the first thing I'm thinking is, yeah, it's a great idea in theory, but like, I don't know, man. I don't know if I want big corporations using like, my computer power. Like, if it starts like with this, then where does it go? Not to mention, like, shouldn't these things be funded to the point where they have, funding so they can create, liquid nitrogen cooled quantum computers? Like, you would think that's where the money would be going. What is it? Where am I at? Is it 2 hours and 26 minutes? Let's see. No, 2 hours and 2 hours, 8 minutes, 29 seconds. Redban was talking about something to do with like Android and iPhone. Oh, I think it was the iWatch, and how like Android, he leaves his phone at home and he just uses iWatch. But how like if an Android user texts you, or a non-iPhone number texts you, you can't see it. Now, when I had switched between various phones back a couple years ago, I had this problem where I wasn't able to receive text messages from people texting me on Android. And like, how annoying is that, man? Like, you can literally, of course, it's probably not the best friendship, but you could lose friendships over the fact that like someone thinks you're just like blowing them off, because you're not answering their texts, or like, what if it was something important? You know what I mean? So what the fuck, man? They really got to figure out a way to fix that. I don't know. It probably is fixed, or you have to do something to your account, because now I can receive text messages, I believe. But I do remember at certain points it wouldn't happen, and it would send to your iCloud or your iMessage or something like that, and it's just annoying as fuck, bruh. Around 2 hours, 26 minutes, 16 seconds, Redban was talking about how the mouse for Apple is so annoying, because when you need to charge it, I'm guessing he's obviously talking about the wireless mouse. Yeah, why the fuck would he be talking about charging a wired mouse? Duh, Mickey. Yeah, he's talking about the wireless mouse. He was talking about how the charging port is like underneath the mouse, and like you can't be using it and charging it at the same time, which, once again, kudos to Apple for fucking you over. They have done this for so long, man. Like with the lightning adapter and everything, you can't charge your phone and listen to music at the same time. Like, what the fuck? Come on, man. And even those adapters, bro, like, I go through this problem all the time where those little lightning adapter dongles that you use to plug in a regular 3.5 millimeter headphone jack into it, they fucking wear out so easily. Like, I have a pair of Skull Candies where, like, it's like, what is it, gold plated or something? It's really nice at the end, and it does, works perfectly fine. But like these lightning dongles, it's made out of probably some super cheap material, and they just give out. And every time I'm listening to music or a podcast, at work with one headphone in, or it doesn't even have to be at work, anytime, if I like keep the phone in my pocket and I'm walking around, it will disconnect because shout out to Smoke Blunt. Ow, ow, ow. Just message me. But yeah, it's a pain in the fucking ass, bro. Like, you're walking around, and then once you've had this thing for a while, it wears out, and you have to just buy another one. Mac or Apple constantly finds a way to fuck you. They constantly do, whether it be through needing to buy the next version. There's been like, 11 or 12 iPhones since they came out. And I can't remember when they came out. Was it 2004 or was it 2009? I don't know. Let's look that up real quick. I don't really like to break the fourth wall, but when did the first... Why can't I type today? When did the first iPhone come out? 2007. Okay, so there's been 11 iPhones since 2007. It's like, I don't know, man. It wouldn't be as much of a problem if they just made shit that worked quality. One thing I'll say, so I got this iMac or this AirBook, and it's awesome for battery life. I love watching stuff on it. It has really nice display, has really nice speakers. It's cool for simple things, but something so simple like playing RuneScape on it full screen, or even just a little bit more enlarged, I will get fucking 15, sometimes 15 to 30 frames per second on the 2020 version or the 2019 version, whatever it is, of the iMac. And it's like, holy shit, bro. You're telling me I can't run a 20-year-old game on your most recent product? Something is wrong there. And it's not just me, because I found a Reddit post talking about this shit. And of course, everyone was saying, you fucked up by getting an Apple product for gaming, And of course, I wasn't getting this for, I wasn't getting this for specifically gaming. But I didn't think that RuneScape, old school RuneScape, would be a problem. So he was talking about bidets at 2 hours and 41 minutes, roughly. And how, like, I guess a certain type of bidet, like the old school type, whatever, if you fall, like, puncture your asshole or something like that. You know, I used the bidet, like, at the VIP, or not VIP, MVP maybe? I don't know. It was like a presidential suite at the Marriott back in, like, 2003, because one of my friends at the time, his dad was, like, he was running the Marriott, and we got to stay at, like, the very top floor. Very nice suite. It had a bidet in it, and yeah, so I tried it. I was like, fuck it, yeah, I'm gonna try that bitch out. And it works well, works well. Of course, you gotta take, well, you don't have to, but I'd recommend, fuck it. If you want to just use it without taking a shit, go ahead. But I'm pretty sure I probably took a shit first. And you don't shit in the toilet, guys. You American people that don't know what a bidet is like. You shit in the toilet, not in the bidet. And then you switch over to the bidet and you sit on the seat, and it's got like this 2 handles, hot and cold. And you can which is really nice. You can warm up the water. Of course, you don't want to scorch your asshole, but you can warm up the water, and it literally cleans it out. Now, the whole drying thing, I'm not 100% sure on how that's supposed to work. Maybe use a towel. And, I guess that's not such a big problem if you're just using a new towel every day. And, if you've already got water to clean your asshole, it's definitely a lot better than, taking a piece of paper or toilet paper and smudging it in your asshole. By the way, wouldn't this be a saving grace if all Americans had bidets in their houses right now? Like, people wouldn't be buying fucking toilet paper off the shelves, and, because you'd have, like, a bidet. You wouldn't even need it. You know what I'm saying? It would be nice to have for backup if, for whatever reason, your water ever got shut off. Another time I used a bidet is when I went to Copenhagen, Denmark in 2012. That's where my mom was born. And so that's where I have some family members as well. And went over there as like my senior graduation kind of gift, sort of. And it was fucking sweet, man. The first night that I stayed there, we were at like an Airbnb. I took some like paper towels and I shoved it in the door jamb. And I just left at like, I don't know, 10, 11 at night, something around then. And so I left and I started walking around. I tried to remember the street that we were on, the address, so that I could find my way back. But to be honest with you, I think I actually just used memory more than anything. So I was walking around and I heard some music coming from like this across a bridge. The bridge was over top of like a small river or something like that. And shit, what was I gonna say? Yeah, so I heard this music and it was coming from this like this bar, but the bar was floating on the water. It was like a little barge or something like that. It was the coolest thing ever. Of course, I was 18 at the time, but you know what? When you're 18 in Denmark, you can not only drink beer, but you can also drink hard liquor. I think at the time that I was there in Copenhagen, the age was like 15 to be able to buy beer and 18 to be able to buy hard liquor, which was fucking sweet, man. I went into 7-Eleven, just like they had, because a lot of the world's Americanized or Westernized or whatever you want to call it. Like they have McDonald's and 7-Elevens and stuff like that. So I went into the 7-Eleven and I saw they had Smirnoff right behind the counter, behind the cashier. And it was fucking sick. I don't even know if I got ID'd because I probably looked at 18. But if I did get ID'd, I just showed them my passport. And, fucking walking around with a bottle of liquor at 18 years old, exploring the streets. But so when I got to this floating bar or whatever, I was talking, first thing I see is, allegedly, first thing I see is like this, like police car, this Danish police car parked, and, he starts talking, so he walks away and starts talking to someone. This dude fucking rides his bike up, he rides his bicycle up to the car very nonchalant, casually, takes out a spray can out of his like hoodie or something like that and just sprays something on the cop car and then just rides his bike away. And I'm like, holy shit, how badass is that? Like, what I'm saying? Just the fact that he did it so slick. And so I'm by myself and something happens where I start talking to someone or they start talking to me. They realize I'm American, and I ask them to show me to this certain part of the city. And we walk at the middle of night, what I'm saying? It's probably like midnight, maybe even later. And we walk to this this part, and I'm not going to get into too many details of what we did there or what I did there. But next thing I know, it was like the sun was coming up, because we were just sitting there talking, man, on this hill. Like, this thing was open, all night, and people were coming and going all night. It was just like an adult playground, sort of, but without like, monkey bars and stuff. It was just like a place for adults to go and chill and stuff like that. They had like a bar that had like, a DJ and stuff. People, a certain amount of people live there. If you've ever been to Denmark, or if you know what I'm talking about, then you'll know exactly where I'm talking about. But I'm going to keep it a little low key. But so the next thing I know, the sun's coming up, and I'm like, holy shit. And I was, at this point, I'm out of my gourd, and I'm, thinking, I'm getting a little paranoid, like, oh, wait, is this person going to try to like rob me? But no, man, everyone there was super cool. And I love it there. It was one of the hardest things to meet. Like, I literally met probably 15 to 20 girls and boys from Copenhagen or from different districts of Denmark there throughout my, I think, 2-week excursion there. And it was so hard to leave, man, to meet these people on the other side of the world and realize that they're all cool as fuck, that they're all like, at least the people I met were all cool as fuck. They're all like close friends. And even to this day, the same groups of friends that were together then are still together now. And they do this thing called hygge, which means cozy. It means to be cozy. And so like here in America, they've got like this, depending on where you're from, you got these huge house parties where people are like binge drinking. Like, when you're in high school and stuff, it's like, oh shit, there's a party at this house. No parents are going to be there. You go there, you get fucking shit-faced, and then you wait for the cops to show up, and then you fucking like sprint through the neighborhoods hiding under porches and all this shit so you can get away and, escape a charge. So we got shit like that in America, but there in Denmark, they have this, which I'm sure there might be similar things there. But since you can buy beer at 15, it's probably not the same. Like, you're not going to get a charge for drinking a beer, especially at 18 years old. But so they have this thing called hygge. It's like Hygge is, I think, the westernized spelling of it. And it means to be cozy. So, you got your group of friends, and they come over and they bring you just cook food and you have wine, and it's maybe like, 5 to 10 friends. They're really close, and they do this very often, candlelit dinners, and people bring different stuff. And it was just, man, it was such a cool time. And I took a journal of some of my experiences there. And one day I'll probably have to read it. But yeah, I know I got a little bit off track there, but I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Once again, I want to do more of these, but there's not enough time, bro, to do RuneScape podcasts with everyone while playing RuneScape after work, in the short amount of time frame that I have. Like, what is it? By the time I get home and everything, like, maybe like 4 hours to do like everything that I need to do. So especially, to listen to a 3-hour podcast. So what I'm saying is, if any of you love listening to Rogan and you would like to help with these Rogan reviews, we can listen to them, same day, and, take notes. I found the easiest way to take notes. I've tried multiple different ways, and the way I use for this, which I would recommend, is you just sit back, listen to the podcast, and then when there's something interesting that's said, you take a screenshot of your phone, and that way you have the timestamp, and you just keep listening, and then whenever something's said interesting, and you take a screenshot of your phone. Now what you do is you can either go back 15 seconds and go backwards 15 seconds before the time on your phone. That way you get what they're talking about leading up to what you found interesting. And then you can listen 15 seconds afterwards in case, you already knew what they were going to say and you were a little bit early. Just so you got like a good time frame of what to talk about. This is by far, I think, the easiest way to listen to a Rogan episode and take notes. Then once you got the pictures, you just write down, you look at your phone, look at the pictures, and then write down the time that it says on there, and you just roll with that. But thank you guys for listening. I'd like to do some more. It probably will be like a weekly, or as far as like, listening to the Rogan review, podcast, find which one is the most interesting to you throughout the week, and then doing it like that. Eventually I like to get to if not doing everyone like I was doing, I'd like to at least get to the most interesting 1 or 2 of the week, especially with some help. But thank you guys. Much love. Peace.